Hey guys, this is John with Integral Camera Solutions. Today we got a review on the exciting new Viofo A119 Mini 2. This is the second mini version of the A119. The first one came out about a year ago, but it is actually in a long line of A119 models. The V3 being one of the most popular dash cameras of all time, and still one of the best dash cameras after 4 years. So we're going to talk about if this one actually can finally dethrone the great A119 V3. So let's get started. So guys, this was sent to me for review by Viofo. They've been very supportive of my channel over the years. They've sent me several of the models for review, and I'd like to thank them for being such a big supporter of my channel. If you're interested in purchasing this or any other cameras I may mention that are still available, check the links down in the description. I'll have some affiliate links down there. So the A119 has a pretty long history. I wanted to cover some of that history quickly just because it's such a popular camera and it's been such a success over the years. Now the original A119 I believe came out around 2016 or 17. I can't remember exactly what year. And there were several iterations. I don't remember the exact order, but at one point they did release an A119S, which is the first one that included a Sony image sensor. And I can't remember if this is the one, but the original ones had this little rotating left and right lens. Besides the A119S, there is also the A119 V2 and then the A119 Pro. I reviewed all of these back in the day, and they were all great for their time, and they kept getting better and better. And that's when probably the most popular one came out in 2019. This is the A119 V3. Now, even though there's more than 3 versions at this point, it was at least the 5th version, I believe. This has pretty much the last 4 years been one of the most popular dash cameras. I've been using this one personally in my vehicle as a secondary camera just because the video quality is so great. You know, back then they didn't have as many advanced features, but through firmware updates, Viofo has really improved this camera with advanced parking mode, wide dynamic range, and other options that, you know, the models didn't have back in the day. So the firmware support on these cameras is excellent. You can see here this one does not have a lens that goes left or right, so it only goes up or down. But the design up until this point kept this same form factor. You can see here I don't have the GPS mount, but there would be a mount that sticks to your windshield and that would connect to the GPS, and that's how it would get GPS. Now last year or so they released a new version called the A119 Mini. I did review that one also. I thought it was okay. The form factor you can see changed here. This has the same form factor as the first Mini. This is the GPS mount. Now, I didn't say at the time that the Mini was a must-have upgrade. I thought it was good. It added Wi-Fi. It made it a little bit more modern. Kept it up with some of the other dash cams on the market. But I thought at the time the video quality, it was about the same. If anything, the V3 might have even still had better video quality. So for me personally, I just kept using the V3, and I thought the Mini was better if you wanted something a little more modern with the smartphone app. But this one definitely, I think, finally has hit the point where I think a lot of people are going to be considering upgrading. And if you're looking for a first camera, I am going to say right off the bat that I would go for this one over the original V3. So you can see the screen on the older model is bigger, and from the front it does look bigger, but if you turn it to the side, the Mini version is actually fatter, and where I had this installed, this is actually too fat with the GPS mount to fit behind my mirror, so you got to take that in consideration depending on where you install it. One great upgrade to the Mini series is the fact that they use USB-C now. You can plug it into the GPS or the side. That's very similar to how this older model was. Like I said, I don't have the GPS here, but that did use a mini USB, so I really appreciate that it upgraded to USB-C. Okay guys, let's start talking about the video quality now, because I know that's what most people are going to care about. The A119 series has been known to have great video quality for a low price. It's basically been the best budget dash camera for many years now. This one, keeping in tradition with all of the other previous models, still has 2K 1440p, but what's nice about this one is you can have 60 frames per second as long as the high dynamic range is off. Now the high dynamic range, you're likely going to want that on at night because it's going to offer more range in the picture quality. But a lot of people don't want to turn that on all the time. So what's great about these models is they do have a schedule or timer function for HDR, so you can set it to only turn on when it is dark wherever you live. So that's a very nice feature. One of the big upgrades to this though, of course, is the Sony Starvis 2 sensor. That's going to give the better night quality. This is a new sensor. It's pretty much only in cameras that have come out this year, and I think a lot of people are going to notice a big improvement in night quality. Now I did compare this side by side to the A119 V3, and some people are going to probably try to argue that the V3 still looks better, but I definitely feel like when I was comparing them side by side and trying to find examples of license plates or signs to read, there were times where I could read them better with the new Mini 2, but then there were times where it did look better in the V3. But I'm not too concerned about the day quality, because even though there's times where the V3 looks better, I couldn't find a time where I could read a license plate on the V3, but I couldn't read it on the Mini 2. Now when it comes to the night quality, I think some people at first glance are going to think the V3 looks better because you can see the sky looks brighter, a lot of the picture looks brighter, but it's starting to really look like it's overexposed compared to the better dynamic range of the Mini 2 with a Starvis 2 image sensor. So there's definitely cases where I feel like you can read license plates better with the Mini 2 over the V3. So for me personally, I think the video quality overall is better with the Mini 2, but I feel like there's still going to be a lot of nitpicking and people are still going to try to argue that the V3 is better. But let me know down in the comments what you think. I'll provide a link to the full comparison down in the description if you want to watch that full comparison. Now I'm not going to go over all of the features because I've covered so many of these features over the years that I'm just going to brush on them. If you want to see some of the features more in depth, you can check out my other reviews. I'll provide links down in the description. For example, if you get the hardwiring kit, this is separate, you can use the advanced buffered parking mode. And with that, basically, if it detects an impact or motion, it can start recording seconds prior, about 5 or 10 seconds prior to that impact. You'll need this if you want that feature, but if you're just looking to record while driving, you don't need to get this. This is an optional Bluetooth button. This allows you to stick this little button somewhere, for example, on your steering wheel, and when you click it, it'll lock that current file. So this is a nice option because I like how small this is. Some other companies have similar buttons and they're really big. So I really appreciate how small this one is. Now I don't have it in front of me, but I'll provide some B-roll footage of the CPL filter. I think that's a must-have. It does help reduce glare in your windshield. And for the sake of comparing this to the V3, I didn't use the CPL filter at all. I know not everyone's going to have it, but I do highly recommend it. It's not much of an upgrade, or it doesn't cost a whole lot more. But again, all of these accessories, I'll provide links to those down in the description also. Now, like every A119 V3 model, this does have a screen, as you can see. One thing I really like about these new mini models is it does have voice alerts. And you can turn that on if you don't want that. So it's got the typical menu system that the A119s have pretty much always had. One new feature of these new models is the voice command feature. So you can see all of the different commands that they offer. Take photo. Turn off audio.
Voice recording disabled.
Turn on audio.
Voice recording enabled.
Stop video. Video stop. Stop video. See, one thing I find a little confusing is for photo, photo is the second word, but for Video is the first word, and that's what's been throwing me off. But it seems as long as you remember the commands, they work very well. It's just hard to remember them. Turn on Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi enabled.
Turn off Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi disabled.
Lock video. But you can see here the menu looks just like the menu from the older models. There's a lot more options now because there's a lot more features. But of course, most people are going to want to use the Wi-Fi and use the smartphone app. So let's talk about that. Now with the smartphone Wi-Fi app, all you got to do is connect to the Wi-Fi on here and then open the app and click connect. It can give you a live feed so you can set your camera, make sure it's pointed correctly at the right horizon. And of course, you can download files straight to your phone. So that way you don't have to take the memory card out. That's a real big convenience. And nowadays, I think pretty much every dash camera should have that feature. And of course, you can change all of the settings from in the app, which is a big deal for me because I don't like looking up at the tiny screen to go through the menu. I think most people would agree and appreciate that feature. So Wi-Fi being added to this model, and well, the original A119 mini model has been very welcomed. So guys, personally, I think this is finally the A119 that is worth replacing the V3. Some of you may disagree. I know there's going to be a lot of nitpicking about the video quality, but on top of the video quality being a non-issue for me at this point, that it's so on par, I think that the added features such as the Wi-Fi app, the voice control, the voice alerts, I think that's all awesome upgrades that I think most people would appreciate. Now, right now, the V3 is on sale. It's only $80, so if you want a cheap, dependable camera, it's still worth recommending. I believe the Mini 2 right now, it's listed at $140, but I did see a $20 off coupon on Amazon today. So again, check the links down in the description if you're interested in purchasing these. And you know, while the price is higher on this one, I personally think it's worth it. That's how I feel. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments if you think this is finally the A119 to dethrone the V3, or if you still prefer the V3 video quality and don't care about all of these extra features. So guys, I hope this video was useful. If you found it helpful, I'd always appreciate if you hit like and subscribe if you're not already. And as usual, drive safe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.